Hi, once again. We continue this exciting subject of the Great Commission, and we're going to look at fulfilling the Great Commission. Jesus not only gave the 11 the responsibility to reach all nations, he also gave to them the power and resources necessary to get the job done. In this session, I want you to see how Jesus gave to them the plan for completing the task. Nowhere in Scripture did they call a meeting to discuss how they were going to reach 250 million who then inhabited the world. They just did what Jesus commanded them to do. So the question is, did they reach the world? When Paul wrote his letter to the church at Colossae, some 33 years after the death of Jesus, he said, in Colossians chapter 1 verse 5 to 6, because of the hope which is laid up for you in heaven, of which you heard before in the word of the truth of the gospel, which has come to you as it has also in all the world, and is bringing forth fruit, as it is also among you since the day you heard and knew the grace of God in truth. Now, this is an amazing statement. Paul was saying that the gospel had gone to all the world. But verse 23 is even more amazing. And I read Colossians chapter 1 verse 23, and it says, if indeed you continue in the faith, grounded and steadfast, and are not moved away from the hope of the gospel which you had, which was preached to every creature under heaven, of which I, Paul, became a minister. So not only had it gone to all the world, but every creature had heard. In a very real way, Paul was saying, we have done it. History and tradition tells us that 10 of the 11 apostles died, martyrs' deaths, most in foreign countries where they were preaching the gospel. If God used them as he did Paul, whose story is recorded, we see they must have made a real impact. The Bible is silent about the ministries of the 11 apostles, the missionaries of the 70 who were trained by Jesus and sent 2 by 2, the 120 in the upper room, the 500 witnesses, and the 3,000 converted at Pentecost. So in the book of Acts, the Bible does give us some insight as to the impact they made. In the second chapter of Acts, we see how they went from adding 2,000 converts who had come to Jerusalem from all over the world for the Feast of Pentecost to multiplying disciples in chapter 6. So in chapter 9, we find them multiplying churches to being accused of turning the world upside down in chapter 17. How they went from Jerusalem in Acts chapter 1 to chapter 8 to Judea and Samaria in chapter 9 to chapter 12, and then to Asia Minor, into Europe, and to the world in chapter 13 to 28, helps us understand Paul's statement. The gospel has gone to all the world, and every creature has heard.